good people? Alright, so it's Jeff here. Today we have a subscriber question. Thanks for sending in the question. They asked how can they become more consistent. So I broke it down into a formula that hopefully would be easy to understand and easy to apply. And let's work on getting you more consistent. So the first thing that has to be spoken about if you're speaking about consistency is goals. You're looking to be consistent at something. It has to be because you are working towards a long-term plan, a long-term goal, or an accomplishment. So what you're speaking about being consistent about is the plan to reach that destination. So the first thing that you have to do is have a clear and definite goal, and broken down even further, a SMART goal. Right. So the thing that normally delays people in being or accomplishing their goals, one, and two, accomplishing it in a timely fashion, is that it normally lacks a time frame. So one of the elements of a SMART goal is being time-based. So if you give yourself a date in which you want to accomplish your goal, the next thing that you have to do obviously would be to break down the plan so that you achieve certain milestones within a certain period to make sure that you are on track to reach your goal around that time or even before, depending on how well and how consistent you are in working towards that long-term goal. I'm actually going to do a video to break down SMART goals a little further. I know that's something that I will probably need to touch on now that I've started this video. Right, so the first thing would be having a long-term goal, setting a time restriction in terms of when you would like to reach it, and then that will help you to determine your weekly, daily, monthly workload in order to reach that goal. So you have kind of like a work schedule, so to speak. And it can become very specific depending on how detailed you want to get. The more detailed, the better. So for me, I know what my long-term goal is. Let's say right now, one of my fitness goals was to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. This year, so far, I am at 23 pounds, only 4 months in. So I have another 2 months to lose another 7 pounds. So pretty much I would have broken down the goal of the 30 pounds in 6 months, which is 5 pounds a month, which is a little bit over the lower end of the recommended range, which is 4 to 8 pounds a month, 1 to 2 pounds a week. Normally, I know in my head the initial weight loss is drastic, so I accounted for that. And so right now I will be on track with that goal. So that's just to give you an example of why setting a time frame for goals is important. The next thing will be motivation. And I have a question mark next to motivation for a reason. Motivation is not something that is static. It ebbs and flows. So some days you're going to feel more motivated, other days you're going to feel less motivated. It can be influenced by mood, it can be influenced by energy levels, it can be influenced by circumstances. So I have a question mark next to it because you shouldn't rely completely on motivation in order to reach a goal or to remain consistent. It is an important aspect. It means that your goal is something that resonates with you. It means your goal is true to your purpose. Goals and overall purpose are linked. So that means that if your goal is in line with your purpose and you feel emotionally compelled to pursue it, then you're more likely to experience higher levels of motivation in order to work towards that goal. And motivation could be further broken down into two different aspects. So there is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Basically just internal or external factors that drive you towards a particular activity. So let's say my intrinsic motivation for losing the 30 pounds is I know I would feel internally I would feel better about how I look, or how I feel, or how fit I am, right? So that's intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, now let's say be at the end of the 30-pound weight loss, I might be able to do a photo shoot. I could do a show. I could, you know, go to the beach and take off my shirt and feel comfortable. Stuff like that. So it just depends on where your level, where your motivation is coming from, whether it's internal or external. And then even so, even in terms of like, for example, job satisfaction, there is a cap on how much money a person makes and their level of happiness or job satisfaction. So I believe that applies to other things as well outside of the workplace. I believe external motivation will have a cap on it. I think the majority of your reason for doing anything should be coming internally. That way, the drive is more. I don't want to say authentic, but I think that's the best way to describe it for right now. So having a time-based goal, which will influence your level of motivation, and then to finish that now would be discipline. Right? This, I have this underlined in red for a reason, because to me this is the most important aspect. Discipline is what's going to trump motivation on days that motivation is low. Right? So on the days that you don't feel like doing the activity that you know you should do, will you have the discipline to do it? And that's something that I can't advise you on how to be disciplined. That's an internal trait that you have to work on yourself. Now, there are certain little activities you can do that will help you to become more disciplined, because discipline I find is a pretty standard characteristic. So if you're disciplined in doing smaller activities, you're more likely to be more disciplined when you have larger performance tasks to accomplish. So for instance, I always used to wonder why it is that I will always come across a lot of books talking about, you know, the top level entrepreneurs or most successful people make up their bed on the morning. So I'm like, that's such a trivial fact. Why do we need to know that? But the more books I came across and resources I came across that outline this very principle, I started to understand why. It's about the discipline. One, it is if you have the discipline to do the simple things in life, it will have a carryover effect to the more important, grander goals. So if you're not even disciplined enough to make your own bed when the morning comes, then it's hell of a lot more unlikely you'll be disciplined enough to accomplish greater tasks, because it will require a greater level of effort. And to further that point, it also has to do with habit formation. So because you are habitually performing the smaller tasks and disciplined enough to finish them, it can carry over then into larger goals. So I hope you understand the correlation there. And then with regards to discipline too, I would say that is making certain important aspects of your performance tasks towards reaching your goals become a habit. So it is about 21 days to form a habit, which means the first 21 days / 3 weeks, you have to rely on your level of discipline to take you to the point until it becomes a habit. And then that would then in turn make it a little easier to do the things required to reach your goal. So pretty much how to be consistent. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something positive out of it, something that you could use. Thank you very much for asking the question. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later.